everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dance Talk Realness, a podcast where we discuss all nuances concerning education and dance, because the dance experience is an experience worth talking about. I'm your host, Truly B, here with my awesome as always co-host, Daryl P. And today we are joined by the magnificent, the lovely, the wonderful Camille Weanquoi. Yay! Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we 100% have just discussed quickly offline that we don't know what we're talking about today. So I am not trying to be messy, but also I'm a fan of continuing our conversation.
Oh gosh.
So, don't say anything incriminating, either of you. If it sounds like I'm about to, just be like, hey, wait a minute. Catch me, because
putting that finger
ready.
up.
Look at them. Wait a minute.
Put that church finger up.
So,
there.
So to cleanly sum it up, I would say that the emphasis was placed on how do we structure programming in such a way that it is beneficial to the student body it is geared towards. And I'm going to say it like that, because that is as professional as I can get in this moment.
Are we here for so many things? So level, their level, their ethnicity, their experience. I guess that's also level, but their interest.
All of it.
I was about to say the whole spectrum. How about that?
All of that.
All of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was like, because I know, I think a lot about this topic, because just, being in the system where I am, I know that there is definitely a central expectation, right, for all of the programs in the county, right? And that comes down from, the central office, right? And I think that a lot of those guidelines are very good jumping off points. And those are places where you would like that I sometimes aspire to be and to do. But I know my population and program, some of that stuff ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna have the same interest or the same I guess I don't know, right? I guess somebody else could come in here and follow those guidelines and be very successful. And maybe it's teacher to teacher, but I know I've had a lot more success by being a little bit more gearing it towards my level, our experiences, the ethnicity, the culture of my program or my school, and tailoring it towards that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I agree in the sense that I've similarly had to do that before, and in current moment, trying to figure out why that is not happening, or it is not happening. Not to be like that, but it's not happening fast enough. Because I'm like, it's been brought to your attention, you've acknowledged it, and you're doing things, but it feels as though you're dragging your feet. And in the process of dragging your feet to get these things accomplished, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So when we have programs that are already well established, I think there may be a little bit more room to move slower and just be like, oh, well, maybe this, maybe not. Let's fill this out. Right. Whereas when you're trying to establish something, it's like, yeah, make a decision. Decide what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And let's move. And especially when you've been given very clear feedback on, okay, well, we're missing this. We need this. If your students can tell you blatantly, we are missing this, we need this, we want this, and you have the capability to provide those things, I understand that maybe you can't implement everything 100% immediately. Of course not. That's not real life. But let's move swiftly though, because the longer it takes to do so, the more student interest you're going to lose, and the less likely it is that you'll be able to build said program. Because you think they don't talk? They got friends at other places. They have friends who may still be in high school who may have been thinking of coming. Like, do you think, and of course I'm speaking specifically about college university in this moment,
but that can go across the board though,
and which is true.
It can be for middle school programs, high school programs, and we often see, and I'm speaking from incognito, I'll speak in code, but there is a local dance program that has been trying, it's in a high school, it's been trying to build the momentum of creating a structured magnet-based dance program, and unfortunately, because of the way that they have to build it in terms of being equitable and fair for all students who aren't coming from a dance background, from dancing from the age of 3 all the way up until auditioning for the 9th grade to get into these programs. So oftentimes they're taking whoever they can get so that they can show that there is some type of growth and build that's happening. Like, look, we took this student from here and now they are here. And oftentimes that happens in the process of growing until you get to the place where you need to be, or can develop it into where you need it to be. But then there's times where I have seen administrators not be so understanding. It makes me question, like, you're not in the room, but you're making decisions for those who have to do this work on a daily basis. So, like, you're making choices for the whole curriculum in this office, and you haven't integrated into the classroom to see what actually is happening there. Why can't we get through this unit? Why this unit doesn't work for this set of students? Like, so it just makes me question, like, one, who's making the rules here in order for this buildup to be, for this development of this program? Who's sitting down with the actual teachers to see what's happening firsthand in the room? Because it's not a one size fits all for all programs. So, like Daryl said, some programs are very successful and they can take that same model and just duplicate it across the board. But where there are others where you're coming to school, you have students coming to school with no ballet shoes or any concept of what ballet is, and you're struggling to build this program from the ground up with students who have no clue, and bureaucracy up here saying you're moving too slow. So, those are things that come to mind.
Yeah, or even sometimes I feel like those people in the, at least in my case, I feel like, and I've had this conversation, because I think it even extends outside of dance, right? Like, this is all of the arts. I think when you start to get to like comprehensive high school programs, or just comprehensive high schools, I think sometimes the idea is just, one, we just need a place to put these kids. They need this credit as an elective. But when you do put stuff together, just the fact to see kids participating and on stage, they're like, kudos, great job. Which, yeah, totally, right? Like, some of these kids, yes, great job for getting out there and getting on stage. Like, it looks great, right? But I always think about, and I never say this to my students because I feel like it's so mean, but I always say that they're like our school good. Like, you're where you're at, but we're not at a place where we're like outside of this building good, right? Like, we're good enough to where people are like, oh, you guys look so great. Oh, you were so awesome. Like, this was a great show. And that's awesome. I mean, and like that does fuel your program, right? I mean, I've seen it. Like, that's what I will say has fueled my program here, is that it is a lot of putting on these shows, putting those kids out there to perform, having other students say, oh, I didn't know we had dance here. Oh, maybe I'll take that next year, or see these performances and like really get excited about them. But, and then administration, right? Like, they aren't necessarily looking at, like, I want my administration to say, how can these students be better, instead of it just being like, you have students on stage and that's really awesome, great job. And it's like, no.
Like, I agree with you. Like, that is so, I have yet to really have someone be like, okay, what can I give you to help them become better? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, can we have better? Because I like better. Like, like it's that phase of, or that level of being where, like you said, that is the best description ever, by the way, Daryl. It's like, you're our school good. Like, you're good for here. Like, but if my goal is to be preparing you, regardless of if this is what you're doing professionally beyond working with me, I should still be preparing you for whatever the next step is. So if you decide to do so, then you're ready. And if you don't, then that's just an extra skill set that you have. Not a problem. So for them, it's almost as though they're like, the powers that be are willing to settle, or it's not important enough to them to want that better. And so when we're pushing for it, we're seen as, being belligerent. That's a mean word. That's a me. Because I do get a little belligerent sometimes. It's fine. Like, I love what I do and I am dead serious about it. And I just like, y'all need to know. Like, we're seen as being like too aggressive, or like we're asking for too much, or we're demanding too much. It's like, we actually just want these things for our students, like
the basics.
Basic things. Like, I want to have the supplies we need. I want to know that the sound system and the lights always are going to work. I want to have like flooring that is proper for dancing. I want to have clean floors. I just want to take a moment.
Yeah.
I would love to have a clean floor. I would love to not be dancing through tumbleweeds and like potentially broken glass. And I don't know what's on that floor, but we're at risk for injury every time. And so I'm just like, basic things. And I'm like, I shouldn't feel like I'm harassing you to ask for those things, because even though that for us is like, yes, this will help us grow, this will help make them better, this will take them to the next level, those are still just basic things.
Right.
Yeah.
Those should just be standard across the board. And the impression is that it's almost like it's asking for too much and we should just be thankful.
Right.
Yes. But this is the thing here. The quality things that we think we deserve, that we should have, just the basic necessities that you're talking about, it really just goes back to arts advocacy. Like, who really believes that, like, if we are to just go back in our own personal history, being in school, and the level of support that was given to certain programs. I know they always talk about arts are underfunded, but I'm like, can we talk about how dance is like the redhead stepchild? We are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to funding and support. So yes, we are the departments that are cut the quickest, or we are the departments that are shifted to have testing coverage for the teachers. Like, we just need you to be here just to cover this test today. And you're like, I'm the dance teacher. I have yeah, we're gonna cancel these are the things that we have to think about. Like, when we think about where the support is going in terms of art, we normally do not see the overwhelming amount of support going towards dance within the school system, within a university or college setting. We are often pushed into a place of like being on the back end. And yes, there might be programs that are highly funded and supported, but still within those, it's still like bureaucracy in the midst of that anyway. So I'm just thinking about arts advocacy in the midst of like why we're just asking, and it seems like a lot, but it's basics that we need that we're not getting. But it's also the fact that how many people really do support art, of this type of art, within their school systems. If we got to beg you for money for supplies every time we start the school year over, you're like, I have to beg you just for a lamination on an anatomy board.
Yeah.
Money for printing of sheets to give it handouts, you know?
Yeah, I even oh, sorry, go ahead, Julie.
Oh, no. I'm just agreeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I like, and even I don't know. Once again, try not to, give any too much away. I remember, speaking of the laminated, anatomy sheet. Like, I remember 3 years ago asking the science department and my administrator if they had a skeleton. Like, do you have like an actual skeleton that I could use so I could, show, bone structure and bone placement and all this other stuff? Because you would think the science department has to have that, right? Like, what are they? How are other students like seeing this? And then we looked and looked and looked, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think we have one of those here." And I'm thinking, so what are they doing in biology? Are they just doing worksheets about the bones? Like, that has to be terrible. So you know what? I bought one on Amazon, $120. I know, crazy, but it's like, how, why? And it's like, and it's so funny because like I even have lots of students just come in my room and they see it and they're just shocked to see it. They're just like, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Well, no, it's not a real human skeleton. It's
baby, no." You should start telling them it is.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh. Scared of children.
Right? It's a former student.
Yeah, exactly. It's a student who didn't turn their work in on time.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta do your work.
But it just goes to show how, like, just the connection of the arts to so many things outside of it, and how that would have been a great opportunity for like a partnership between, biology, science department, and dance. And like, I didn't have any real support there, right? So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to take away from the art advocacy and to say that nothing is really supported, because I mean, I'm sure I am 100% sure the science department with their many teachers and whatnot, they are totally funded and supported, but like I know for even my school right now, I'm just thinking about, conversations I always have with my scheduler every year, because I always end up having about 120 students who sign up for dance. 120 students divided by 6 classes, that's 20 students that like all of those classes would make, and that's just dance 1. And I have 2, 3, 4 production and rep. So like, I could use a second person that could help teach. Will they ever hire one? The question is, where would they go? We don't have the space for it. So it's like, I'm sure I miss out on a lot of students that are probably super interested in it, and I don't get to get them because I just don't have the space for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that space thing, because even at this level and like where I am, this is technically still a newer facility, but it was not built with the thought of growth in mind. It was just built with you said you needed a space here.
Yeah. And
it's like, no one ever stopped to consider, like, you know what? 2 dance studios, at least. Yeah. It's like, we have the one movement studio, which is not even a dance studio, it's a movement studio. Words matter, and I will always say that words matter. We have the black box theater, but mostly that's theater courses. Those teachers get that one over there. I think some people may teach on the main stage, but again, that's still usually like the theater people. So actual dance, we have the one space that is dedicated more so specifically for us. And it's like, okay, well, that means even if you have like this semester, I want to say there's 5 of us teaching classes. There's only so many things you can offer because we can't teach at the same time.
Yeah.
Unless a theater teacher is not using the black box, or like unless someone is not using one of the other spaces, there's nothing we can do. Like, so I think that there's not many times that you have dance classes happening simultaneously. And I'm like, well, what type of dance department does that?
Yeah.
Like we should have the option. So we end up where we have students who they're like, and I've had one who, bless her heart, she'll come and sit in my class for the little bit of time she has. That she was like, I really wanted to take this class, but this is the only time like it was offered. And then I had to take this one and it kind of overlaps. And they wouldn't let me do it because they said it was a conflict, even though I could have tried to finesse it. And it's just like, we're missing out on students.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that I think that they lose their interest all the time, but like once you like life starts going, you're like, okay, well now I got to take this class, and now I'm a junior, so now I'm looking at what I need to do to make sure I'm graduating on time next year. Now I'm a senior, like now I'm just trying to be up out of this piece. I don't want to be here no more, and so we can't get a hold of them, so we suffer.
Mm-hmm.
They can't participate in the art that they want to participate in, so they suffer. And I'm like, so who is winning exactly in this equation? Because it sounds like a losing proposition across the board, regardless of level. Because same when I was teaching high school, it was the same thing, that I would have all these kids who they were like, yeah, I want to take this class, but you know, it's just me. I'm like, well, baby, I can only teach but so many classes in a day, and I can only have so many bodies. And then on the flip, they would try to pack bodies in, and I'm like, but now we can't.
Now you don't have room to dance. You don't even have room to move.
It's like you can't put your arms in second because you're going to backhand the two people next to you. It's like, well, there has to be a way. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to stop that sentence right there, because there is a way to do all of this better. The issue is the people who have the power to make the things better. If they don't prioritize it, it won't happen. Because I guarantee you, let the football field be messed up. That's getting fixed immediately.
Absolutely.
We can't not have our football games. That is not a fucking academic thing, but that's cool. That's cute. That's fine. But that's a moneymaker. High school, college, doesn't matter. That's a moneymaker. Even within the arts, it is easier for people to comprehend and follow music than it is dance. And as a musician, I'm like, I get that. I'm like, I can see why, because I don't have to think when I listen to music usually. But there are dance pieces where I'm sitting there and I'm just like, wow.
So like, just enthralled.
It's like a lot is happening here. Like my attention's over here, now it's over here, and then I have to take the music into consideration with what's happening with the movement and like how these different movements, like all that. And it's, for some people, I'm not trying to say people are dumb. I low-key am, but it's like people can't process it, and it's just like try though. Like, and even if you don't get it, that doesn't mean it has less value. And maybe that's the artist in me that understands that concept. So when I see something that I'm like, yo, I do not understand what's going on here. Like there's many a painting or sculpture that I'm just like, what? But I'm not going to sit here and say that that entire field is now devalued in comparison to another. I'm like, no, I just literally do not get that one. Like that's the one I just don't get. But there will be one that I do and that I'm really into and that I can connect to. And it's like people don't make that jump. And I need the people who have the power to help us get the things that we need. I need them to be able to make that jump and make those connections.
And I think to that, and I would add another layer to that I also think that maybe us in the dance world has worked so hard to try to really bring validation to our field that we've definitely pushed towards a dance is for everybody, anybody can do it, right? And I think that then if everybody can do it, then what makes it so special, right? What makes it so like interesting, right? Like not everybody can pick up the flute and like know how to play it, right? Not everybody can pick up a guitar. I mean, they could figure it out, but like it'll take a lot. Whereas like we're just saying, anybody right now, get up, stand up, move, you're dancing, hooray, right? And so now it's like, well, anybody can do it. So it's like I would say what would be wise of us is to really start to push the more technical forms. And and I'm not talking just ballet, jazz, modern. I mean the technicality of hip hop, the technicality of African, the technicality of like folkloric dance, really just showing that these are things that not everybody can do, right? These are things that take work. And, it's not just everybody getting up and moving, although that's one aspect, right? I mean, everybody could potentially be singers, right? You can sing a song. We sing Happy Birthday, right? So does that make you a singer? We sing, you can clap your hands and stomp your feet. You're making music with your body, right? But like people also know that that's not real like instrumentation, right? And so I don't know. It's like figuring out a way to maybe reclaim the technicality, not reclaiming it, because I feel like we know it, but just putting it out there that this is not just anybody's art.
I wonder if, and it just brings me back to what you were saying earlier about this is school good, not world good. I think we've fallen into the, I don't say trap, but we've fallen into that line of thinking where everyone can dance. So if you take this dance class in school, you can perform, and this is our performance, and yay. And you've gone on to say, oh, I've completed this wonderful piece, I've done this, and it makes it seem as though this is the special. Because it's for everyone, it's special. But it doesn't specify like the technical aspect of it if we're just throwing things on stage just so we can have, that winter showcase, or that, end of the year seasonal closeout school year show. Like, I think we do have to get to a space where we're very specific about the technical aspect of dance. And I'm wondering how we bring that back within the school system, because yes, we're trying to be equitable and fair for all children who don't have the access outside of school to dance in this way. But how do we bring back this space of, and I'm not even going to say how, because I think some people are starting to do this with company. I see a lot of schools creating company outside of their normal, routine of dance classes throughout the school day. They have these after school company rehearsals where we get to see the technical aspect of, these dancers who are in these middle school programs, who are in these high schools, or even, college based programs. And they have more of a focus on the technical abilities that they are learning and growing in. I think we need to just see more of that. And that needs to be that needs to be supported just as much as we're supporting everything else. These groups that children are actually dedicating their time to after school, and the teachers are pretty much paying out of pocket. I know some teachers who are buying costumes themselves for these companies, but we do need to actually highlight that more. I think we don't really get to see those interactions within school shows or highlighting them within any school events. I think that would be helpful to really make, okay, in order for me to get here, I need to be in class. I need to be signing up for class. I need to be in level 1, 2, da 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 da, in order to get to company. So maybe that's something we can continue to grow with.
Yeah, I've always had a company, whatever school I was teaching at. I was like, we will always have this group that specializes in really honing in on the technique and also the performative aspect. That it's not just because in my class, I was like, oh no, y'all gonna be on stage now. Like, please understand. I was like, but I'm like, you will see the difference between, okay, this is, how far we're able to get in level 1. This is what we cover. This is what we do. Okay, now this group has done level 1 and level 2. So this is all the stuff that they're able to do and learn. And then as you see the levels progress, And then you finally see company. And
Right.
I would acknowledge them. I was like, these are the students that, they may be enrolled still in a class, but they've taken it to the next level of taking additional classes, additional workshops. They have extra hours that they put in towards working on the technique. And since they have the technique, we're now able to do X, Y, Z when we're performing. And, like, did that cause some issue with some of the students who weren't in company? Yes, they always felt a type of way. But I just, like, as you were talking, you caused this thought to come into my mind that I'm like, do kids complain at the football game that, well, I take PE, why don't I get to be out on the field?
No, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, shit, we shouldn't be listening to them complain about us either, because it's like, yeah, like, just like that child that tried out for the football team and made it and, like, did what they need to do to progress and be on that field. It's the same for company. Right. Like, these are the students who, like, yeah, they were in the class, but they did that audition. They put in the work. They're spending the extra hours. Like, they're doing all the things they need to do to move to that step. I'm like, it's different. Just because you see similarities doesn't mean you're doing the same thing. And that's why we shouldn't say dance is for everyone. Not in the sense that it's not for everyone. Let me try to clean that up a little bit.
I got you.
Like, let me try. I was like, so in the same way that singing is for everyone, it doesn't mean it's your testimony. And that's okay. Just because you have the physical capacity to do something doesn't mean that it's for you. Right. I have the physical capacity to run. But should I do track? Never. Never. The devil's a lie. I should not do it. Just because I have that capacity doesn't mean that's what I should do. Can I, in theory, hold a pitch? Yes, in theory. However, should I be singing the national anthem at anybody's thing? No. No, I will lip sync somewhere. That's all you get from me, because I'm like, I know how I sound. No, it's not my testimony. So for dance, it's like, yes, you have the physical capacity to do movement, but are you dancing though? Those things are different, which is part of why I don't like the classes being called movement. I'm putting my whole job on blast right now. Wow. I
mean, like, call a spade a spade.
Like, movement studies. I'm like, my God, me walking down the street is movement. Me moving my head and making gestures with my hands as I talk is movement. I'm like, so are we studying dance or are we studying movement? Because I'm pretty sure these kids are here to do dance. And those two things are different conversations. I'm not saying that they don't have overlap, but they're different. And that, for me, goes back to words matter. How we talk about things matter. How we label the things matter. How we present them matters.
Yeah. Yeah. All of this is just like, just going back to the original question that we started out with, how are we able to scale? How are we able to build these programs to the place where we can say, okay, these are technical programs. These are programs that are actually providing quality training, quality service. Like, how do we get to the place that we can showcase, okay, we are an actual department, our actual, magnet program that offers quality dance service. We need space to do so. We need the opportunity to create comprehensive curriculum that can scale with the children based off of whatever level that they're in. And we don't need to sugarcoat. I think we just need, like you said, like, we can't sugarcoat, okay, everyone's got to be in this class because it's a dance class, and it doesn't matter if you can. I have one student who I teach in a dance studio. She goes to a local dance high school program, and she is constantly complaining to me about the fact that she is in dance. Now she's a junior, so she's like, I'm in dance too. And I'm like, why are you in dance too? She's like, Miss Camille, we're doing plies, and I've learned plies at 6. I was like, I understand. She's like, I want to dance, and I think I'm going to quit. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, well, just do dance after school if you're not going to be. She's like disheartened because she's in this class, but the class has to scale with the school. So yeah, there is no, this is your level, this is my level. There's no options for that. She literally just has to scale with whatever is given. So yes, she has to now take this dance too, where they're learning ronde-jambs from the basic front to the side to the back, now close to first. She is like, I am bored out of my mind. But
Yeah.
this is where we lose the quality students, the ones who are like, I got this in like the first week. They might not have had dance training out before they got here, but they picked it up so quickly that they're now stuck, but they're restricted to these level 2, level 1.
Right.
So we have to figure out how we can rearrange that so that it works for, if we're talking about dance for all, then we also have to talk about dance for improvement, dance for quality training, or dance for health. Like we have to specify what this is. If this is just dance for get into good shape, okay, this is the class you're taking. If this is dance for technique and focus on growing in dance, then this might be the class you take. We have to have some differentiation between the two so that we can still hit the children who do want to dance but don't want to do it as a professional, or just don't want to learn it very technically speaking, and then hit the students who are like, oh, I did not know I could dance like this, let me continue on. That's how you can hit all the students and actually make it dance for all,
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that piece about the, you know, the dance for improvement, right? Or dancing for, I feel like that all never includes the ones that have the passion for it, right? It's like dance for all is always the ones that are like, I'm just here. I don't have anything else to do. But this for me. But it's like, what about the student who's like, I know this is for me. I love this. What about me? And I feel like that happens sadly in education. It feels like that's always what education ends up being catered to, right? Catered to like real not, I don't want to keep using the word program, but real support. Support is always for the students who are the middle of the road and below, right? Support just always, it doesn't seem like it's ever geared towards the ones that are like higher than that, because they are the ones that we don't worry about. We're like, okay, you got it. You'll make your way through, and it's okay. But we're not helping those students get any better. And I feel like that's that way across everything. That's not just dance. I think that's education in general.
Yeah. Where is the level of challenge? Like when we think about GT classes, right? We have these GT math classes, we have GT science, history. We give this level of challenge for those students. We see, okay, you've been doing this math and it's been really a breeze to you. Let's give you another level of challenge. Where does that come into play with dance? Like, I see you've been dancing. Let's give you another level of challenge to grow your knowledge of dance. Like, we give that option and that opportunity for these other subjects, but when it comes to dance, it's like, dance is for all. Even if you've got it, even if you've excelled in it, we get mad at children when they are doing things that they shouldn't be doing because they're bored, and then when we realize they're bored, we try to challenge them. The same can actually be said in dance. If we're seeing that children are just gravitating and just like excelling in the things that we're giving them, why don't we give them this next level of challenge? Why aren't there an opportunity for these GT classes to happen within dance? That should be a thing. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I've
And
never
it
heard of
shouldn't,
GT dance. So,
and it shouldn't be a fight to do that.
right.
I feel like somewhere, I might be making it up. Was it Laurel? Maybe somebody had an AP dance class.
Oh,
Somebody had it.
They have IB dance.
And it's like,
okay. All
why
right.
is this not common across the board?
Exactly.
Why isn't having more than one teacher in the building on that subject area more common across the board? Like,
listen,
y'all be finding money for other stuff. I'm gonna need y'all to find money to make sure that we are adequately teaching. Like, help us help them.
I feel like you hit the nail all the way on the big head, okay? Because let's talk about the fact that if we are to scale these programs, if we really want to restructure and actually structure and restructure, create and then restructure, we need more. So that means you have to bring in more teachers. It cannot, just like Daryl was saying, he listed all of the things that he has to do and teach and then produce. And then you're like, well, why aren't there more? Because it's just him. Who else is teaching the classes? Like, we have to bring in more teachers, and being in a state where let's ramble it down. We now have Johns Hopkins University that has a dance program, BFA program. We have Towson University that not only has undergrad but now has a grad program in dance education. We have UMBC, we have College Park, Coppin State. We have Bowie that also has, dance, theater, dance. Well, we gonna call them dance.
We working on them.
We working on them. But and then Morgan State, even though Morgan State doesn't have a full department, they do have you adding on dance education into your theater degree. So we have these 6 to 7 schools that offer quality education. We have these people who graduate and stay in the state of Maryland who want to teach dance education. Why are we not scooping them up? Why are we not scooping them up into each and every single one of these counties that offers dance? Where is the incentives for the dance teachers to come in? Because it cannot be that, oh, well, we're fine, we're good, but you see that your teacher is stretched to capacity, that they can only teach this many children on their whole workload from the end of August to June, mid-June. Like, come on now. We need support in order to grow. We can't grow this thing, we can't scale this or restructure it if we don't have the teachers. And then we also need to put people into spaces, administratively speaking. Daryl, I'm waiting for your degree. Put you on that educational leadership track. Okay, I saw that. I saw the podcast last week. Yes. So we're waiting for that one. Okay, so we can put people who are dance educators into this leadership track to say, okay, admin, y'all, administrative staff, we need another space within this building. So when y'all are redesigning or this 24, the new thing is these 21st century schools that they're building throughout the state. Like, who's considering bringing dancers to the table to talk about this dance studio that you created to suffice actually isn't a dance studio. The floor that you all put in that you thought was dance studio floor is actually not dance studio floor. I have a friend who currently teaches in Baltimore City, and he now moved into a 21st century school. His school is wonderful, but they got a new dance studio in there, but does it have what it actually is supposed to? Sprung floors. Are we talking about that? Like, or is it just a space that has black Marley on it, if it's Marley, and bars?
Yeah.
The end. Yeah. And a lot of the 21st century schools that they're building, they're saying, because they're putting dance spaces in there, that it should suffice. But you're like, no, if you talk to any dance instructor, any dancer will tell you, this floor is hard as bricks.
They're tear these kids up.
These children are not even going to get the quality education that you think they're supposed to get in this dance space because you didn't consult any dance educator on what kind of dimensions this space should have. You just put together a space and said, look, in our 21st century school, we have a dance studio. It has bars and a mirror. The end.
Like, check off the box. And it's like, okay, but did you really check that box?
Did you really check it? Yeah. So if we're going to talk about it as a full spectrum thing, like across the board, we need y'all to keep including dance educators on a leadership level to can advocate on that end. But then you also have to include more dance educators across the board in schools. Like it cannot be one dance educator to thousands and thousands of children in a public school. In one public school. What sense does that make? I'm listening to Daryl talk about 125 students that you have to break up into all of these classes. 20 is a lot in a studio. 20 students is a lot in the studio, and they don't get it. They're not sitting at desks. They're not sitting at desks. They're moving across the floor. They're sitting and stretching on the floor. If they don't have space to open their legs on the floor, what are we doing?
And that is one of the points that I used to get fussed at for. It's like, you just want smaller classes. Actually, I need them. Actually, that numbers game is a detriment to all of us, because especially when we're looking at yes, we need at least 2 teachers per building. Like you get to the university level, I'm like, my guy, it should be at least 4 to 5 of us full time, and then you can have adjunct. But so there needs to be a lot of us here so we can really offer. And you have to be okay with the fact that our classes aren't going to be maxed out at 20, 25, 30, 50 students. Right. Like, we're not supposed to have that many. Like, all in just one room at the same time. We're not supposed to. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if you really let us structure it how it needs to be structured, really level our students where we can best serve them, we're not going to have that many bodies in the room. I may have a class of, I tell them, I was like, around 13. I'm like, all right, y'all, let's stop now, because now we gotta, all right, we still got space, but it's about to get tight. And so like this semester, I actually have a class with 13, and I'm just like, yeah, let's not really go past this. Like, don't nobody ask me for permission, because no, like this is perfect size. But it also, in addition to them having physical space, it gives us the opportunity to really see everyone and to really talk to them and to give them feedback and give them correction. And like, like we're all capable of, if we have like a large class, we can give feedback to everybody. We are capable of that. However, in order to do that, the time that takes, or it may just simply be the fact that, while I'm watching Daryl go across, I happen to miss what Camille did. And it was a correction that she probably really needed, but I missed it because there's so much. And it's like, let us have the small, like, I'm not saying let it be a class of like 2 people. Like, that would be wild. Maybe don't do that. But I'm like, about 7. I'm like, that's too small to a lot of people. But I'm like, actually, I can get a lot done with that. Mm-hmm. Do a whole lot with 7 bodies. And I can really dig in and give them the attention that they need. And I know, like, especially like in the school system, they really don't want to do that. They really don't want to let you have that small class size, because it's like, well, where are we going to put these other kids? And I'm like, that's not my fucking problem. I'm not a babysitter. like I promise you, I'm a whole ass educator. Like, I have degrees in this. This is what you hired me for. I am not a glorified babysitter. And they need to stop treating us as such.
Right.
And to be fair, that's across the board in definitely public school education. I'm like, hey, yo, why? As a parent, I'm like, why would my child be in a classroom with so many people? Why? Right. And that was pre-COVID. I'm like, why are there so many? Why are there 35 kids in here? How is this teacher really reaching all of you? How? Any subject. How is this happening? But I'm like, teacher shortages and all that. But I'm like, y'all did that to yourselves. I'm like, because you get people like me that I'm like, oh, you burnt me out. I'm off that. I don't want to do that no more. I was like, and I'm certified to be doing other things. I was like, that misunderstanding is also crazy. I'm like, oh no, but a lot of us educators, we can be somewhere else, and we chose to be there. So help us really do what we're there to do. Make sure we feel supported. And then that guarantees that we're going to do everything we can to build that program, which will make you look good. Like, help me help you. Support me and do it, because at the end of the day, like you said earlier, Camille, like they're not in the classroom with us.
Right.
So I'm like, so take a moment and acknowledge the fact that we're the experts. It's us.
Yes.
Right.
We're the ones that know what we're doing in here. Don't question that. I'm like, unless I'm literally killing kids, I am the actual expert in this field, in this building. If there's another dance teacher in here with me, we are the experts in this field, in this building. I don't care that you danced when you were 5. So the fuck what a lot of people did. I don't care. Like, but I'm like, I have trained in this. I have degrees in it. I have experience doing it. I'm the expert. Let me tell you what I need to help them grow, and then support me in making that happen.
Right. Right. Right.
All right. Yeah, that was good conversation, y'all. Good conversation. Yay! Thank you for coming again. We got to have you on again. We be having like these deep talks when Camille come on. I was be like, about the business. She
we just be talking
about what? Yes.
What we talk about today? Listen, there's so much.
There's so much.
There's so much. We can dive deep for a whole hour on just college alone. I know we were talking about, all things, but college dance programs, oh gosh, don't even get into that. We could have a whole conversation.
Look, we have to run it back and talk about it, because it has been mind-blowing and eye-opening to be on this side of it. Because now I'm in it. I was like, oh, y'all did not warn me that this was going to be this. Oh, wow. Y'all could have told somebody.
I mean, well, you about to tell me, because after I finish this MFA, I want to branch in, but every time I talk to somebody, I'm like, ooh, let me sit all the way back.
Just like,
let me sit back. I like what I'm doing right here. I'm fine. I'll stay with my babies.
When I tell you, it is wild, and I was not prepared for how crazy it was going to be. I was like, oh wow, people really painted a different picture. And it was not that. It was not that. So I got you, sis. I got you. I got you for sure. All right, awesome. So thank you all for joining us here yet again at Dance Talk with Realness. If you have any questions, comments, observations, drop us a line. If you have anything you want us to ask Camille or anything you want us to share with her, let us know. Do you have any social media ads that you want to give the people?
Oh, yes. So find me on IG. It's Camille, Camille. Last name is Weanquoi. It's Weanquoi. That is my website too, CamilleWeanquoi.com. Also, I am the founder and executive director of Baltimore Black Dance Collective. You can find us at baltimoreblackdance.com. We just finished our festival, Black Choreographers Festival, this past October. So stay connected to us so you can see any more of the community events we've got going on. And yeah, that's how you can connect.
Awesome. Thank you. And y'all, please make sure to check them out. Camille is making a lot of awesome things happen, and I am so thankful to be able to witness it firsthand. Simply amazing, sis. Simply amazing.
Thank you.
All right, we look forward to bringing y'all some fresh new content next week. We'll see you then. Bye.
Hey.
Bye.